and they were operating in a period when it looked like the global north was in great shape, and they were trying to catch up with the global north. And today we're in a very different circumstance where the global north is in trouble,
Yeah.
and we have to think very differently about the culture before slavery and before colonialism. And what's very interesting is that I'm having Selma James, C.L.I. James's widow,
Yeah.
and a woman who worked very closely with Walter Rodney
Yeah.
are coming here in a couple of weeks.
Okay.
And we're going to have a conference around the question of how do we look at Africa today. And what Rodney points out is how before slave trade and before colonialism, we had communalism where the family and kinship were the main basis of the society.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's the way we have to begin thinking now
Absolutely.
with the collapse of industrial civilization.
Absolutely.
And I think that you have to look at whatever you decide to do in terms of a film now about the Black Jacobins, about Haiti, in that light, and to understand that when Paul Robeson played in the film, which he played in C.L.I. James's play.
Yeah, he did that travel around.
That was another period. I mean,
Well, that's I think because the writer of my script is a woman, my producing partner. I think the aspects of what you spoke about, because those are represented in very clear ways through, first of all, through Toussaint, who is Toussaint in this sense is someone who is attracted to the aspects of development and the aspect, the colonial maintenance of the colonial state itself, the colony itself, through his ideas of modernity. And yet his nephew is the other, one of the major conflicts in this is his nephew, who is traditionalism, along with the storyteller is Fatima, who is the Maroon priestess, who is not only clairvoyant, but also is able to kind of be able to look into the future and prophetic. So that's our storyteller. That's our storyteller. We begin with Fatima. She's central to the piece. We said Fatima is the central piece of this because she, in a sense, Maroons who had lived in the mountains, who had escaped slavery, and who lived and had a certain kind of sensibility and life of their own life itself. You understand? She becomes a key point in that, in the story, both in the ways which are material in real ways, but also in the ways in which are translated through her own spiritualism or through her own sense of traditionalism. So those are the two those are the two pillars that we base this film on. This is not about men stepping up and sitting up and doing these great oratory kind of speeches. This is about the struggle, and Toussaint realizing at the end that when Toussaint executes his nephew, his adopted nephew, because Toussaint leads Moise leads a revolt of farmers against him, and is captured then because they refuse to continue to live this in existence within this colonial structure. He's captured then. But interesting, in the scene where we see Moise, it's that scene in I took a little liberty from that scene in Elia Kazan's Viva Zapata. There's a scene where we see, there's two scenes which really makes the film very interesting to me. The scene where at the beginning of his ascension, Zapata has this group of farmers who kind of, as he marches to deal with the empire and third authority, this group of farmers that follow him as he goes up here in a revolt. took a little liberty with that and took a little plagiarism with that scene because I thought it was a brilliant scene. And the other scene was when he's sitting in there and he sees someone comes up there and who tells him his story and he's reminded of who he is. This is when he has authority and takes off that thing and walks away from that, which is basically one of the same scenes in Burn, the Cantabavo film with Marlon Brando, where Jesus Dolores, the guy who Brando targets is to lead the revolt and leads the revolt, and he comes to see that this idea of change is not what change is, and it goes out and says, I'm leaving, but if you turn on us, I'm gonna revolt again. And then Brando comes back and finds himself in pursuit of him, So the idea is that we've placed this film in this kind of context to ask about, because I think the film is important. One, because it's the first victory of Africans in the institution of slavery. Two, that it demonstrates to people the power that we have to fight empire. It's the first victory against empire as well. So in some sense it's important from that vantage point, but it's also important from the other values that I think are important. The one where this dynamic of struggle between traditional values, the values which are friendly to the mother planet, those values that we live in harmony with the mother planet, to those values of modernity and progress and development, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That is a key point. And that's what and then what does it mean in the final question? What does it mean to be free? What is freedom, in a sense?
That's wonderful.
Yeah, that's how we've shaped the story. Yeah, that's how we've developed the story. And we've developed the story from scratch. We had this journey for doing a story on the Haitian Revolution has been some sort of journey that's been over 30 years for me. And it began to manifest itself in some way through projects that we had done. And after I finished Color Purple, that was now 24 years ago, I went to Steven Spielberg. Steven Spielberg had wanted me, he was thinking about doing Alexander the Great, and he wanted me to play an Egyptian general in it, I thought it was a great idea, me playing an Egyptian general there. But I talked with him about the Haitian slave revolt. I think he felt that Amistad was the thing he wanted to do, Amistad, But we've developed this thing, we've developed it, of course, when people are saying it's got to have a white person here and a white person there and whatever, we developed it and the reason why we're having a difficult time, this has been a white story, it had been done a long time ago. But it's a story where you have people of color challenging empire, And so that's the direction. So Black Jacobins is only the cover as the thing to say, boy, there was, for me, at 24 years old, there was a Haitian Revolution and I didn't know about it. There was this incredible thing that happened, and these incredible men and women, this thing happened, and I hadn't heard about it. So it has been the impetus for this, in a sense, And it's like, it's an incredible story in itself.
Well, I'm very glad to hear that you're doing it in terms of the traditional versus the
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
modernity.
These are the two pillars around traditionalism and modernity, And Moise is a strong kid who comes, young man who aspires because of his bravery and everything else, but more and more he's drawn to the traditional values, farmers, their lives, and everything else. And he sees what is happening in the midst of this quote unquote victory, As it turned out, Christophe represented that part of modernity.